Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we are going to go over behaviors that avoidants show up and you're starting to perceive when an avoidant thinks you are special, when you are the special one, when you are the one for them. And I do want you guys to know that a lot of you guys will probably fit this category. And it's very important to recognize that avoidants show their love differently. And so I made this video so that you guys can know if you fit this criteria, you are loved. You're loved by somebody. You're loved by probably the partner that you love. And I want you to also realize that just because your partner loves you doesn't mean you have to stay with them. You can if you want to, but just because they love you so much and they're so attached to you and you're the special person for them doesn't mean that you have to guilt yourself into staying if you don't want to. You're welcome to leave. You're welcome to stay. But this is just for knowledge so that you guys know you're probably loved, probably a lot more than you think you are, okay? So let's jump right in. So the first one is kind of specific, but honestly, it's very common, which is why I wanted to put it in there. And as a therapist, I see this all the time, but often the avoidant individual, typically, if you're the person that's been there for many, many, many years, even many months, that's probably like you are the person for them. Like you're their person. I hear that a lot. Avoidants say like, she's my person. He's the one for me. Like that, it's just that simple. Honestly, like that's the most common way that anybody who's an avoidant or who's a partner with an avoidant knows. If you've been with your partner for a couple years or a couple, even longer than that, especially if maybe you have broken up and they wanted to get you back or you guys have gotten back together, they have you in their life because you're the person for them. Very, very simple. You're the one for them, okay? Usually if you guys have been together for a couple years plus, but not all the time, but this one's pretty common, okay? The next one is when you first met your partner, they had many things about commitment specifically that they said, I don't do this, I don't get married, I don't, go on dates, or I don't get attached. And then regardless of all those things, they still did all of those things with you. Now, why? Because you're special. Like, I'm just going to be very blunt with y'all. They said they're never going to do it, but they did do it. But they didn't know they were going to do it because at that time when you met, they didn't know that you would become their special person. But now that you are, they're going to do all those things. So let's give an example so that you kind of know what I'm talking about, okay? Let's just say they said, I don't change. Maybe they told you that, and yet they have changed. Like looking back, you've realized, okay, you have changed though. That's an indication for you guys that this person thinks you're special. Even if they don't admit it, even if they're not aware, they do think you're special. Otherwise, why'd they say they're not going to change? And yet they did. I'm telling you that most avoidant individuals, they're pretty particular. The fact that they went out of their way for you, yes, of course you're special. The next one, I don't get attached, right? We hear that a lot. And yet it's so obvious they're very attached to you. The other one could be, I don't see anyone on a regular basis. I'm a loner, right? I'm a loner. I don't need anybody. And yet they see you regularly and they've been seeing you regularly for years, right? Like, let's just be completely honest. They might even pretend that they're not attached to you, but they are, of course. Like, you're very special to them. The next one is things that used to trigger them are no longer triggering. Or they're less triggering. Maybe you would talk about moving in together and they used to get really annoyed. That's not the kind of person I am. Then I can't do this. I can't give you what you want. You know that whole speech, right? But instead they're like, okay, I'll keep it in the back of my mind. I'm not ready yet, but I'm hearing you. It doesn't sound like much, but it really is because they're not as triggered. They're being as honest as possible with you, okay? You are special to them. They are going to probably change for you if you're seeing that, by the way. The next one is they're more upfront with asking from what they need from you. Okay, so let's give an example so we can kind of illustrate this, okay? Let's say we have a couple that comes into session, right? And they're explaining a fight that they had maybe last week, okay? Let's say we have a male and female pair and the male is dismissive avoidant and female is fearful avoidant, okay? So dismissive avoidant admits that his fearful avoidant partner triggered him, okay? So what does she say that triggered him? She said, I don't want to say much about that topic since you normally get mad at me. So she's like, I want to put away my feelings. Like, I don't talk much about this topic because you get upset at me, right? And this is common. I'm giving this example because it's very common. She's saying, I don't feel safe speaking up about X, Y, and Z because you always get irritated or you don't hear me. right? And he took it as, oh, you're trying to make me feel guilty that I don't make you happy. You're trying to make me feel like I'm a bad guy. You're trying to manipulate me, right? And he's taking it like that. And so that's where the fight started. And then what she ends up saying is, I wasn't trying to say that. I was just trying to open up to you. Like, this is exactly what always happens. And she's saying, like, that's why I can never share my feelings, because you always think I have something negative to say. And then he starts realizing, oh, like, I do that. I make her feel so bad. I've done it again. Maybe he apologized. But then, and this is the part where he does this typically if he feels something is special, he starts admitting, you know what I realize? What I need from you is I need you to give me some disclaimers that you're not manipulating me. And that's really, for avoidant individuals, that's kind of embarrassing to admit, because what are they asking for? I need reassurance. Like, I need something from someone. I'm not that independent, cool loner that you think I am. I need you to say, hey, I know that, this might come across a certain way. I just want to let you know I'm not manipulating you, right? Similarly, how anxious people might want in avoiding to say, hey, I haven't forgot. I'm going to answer the text message in more detail in like an hour, but I did read your text message. I'm just in a meeting. That would make anxious people feel a lot better than an avoidant just not answering for like 2 hours or whatever. Just an example. Similarly, avoidant individuals would like if you, in this example, they're more upfront about what they need. Hey, just, when you're feeling upset about something or when you're mad at me, just give me a disclaimer that you're not trying to control me, because sometimes I think that's what your emotions mean. Just tell me that and I'll feel less triggered. So in this example, he asked her specifically what he wanted when before he didn't. Before he would just get triggered and shut down or run away or whatever, right? But now he's telling you what I need, which means he's trying not to run away, which means he's more engaged in this relationship, which means you're special, okay? The next one is they are more open to making adjustments for you for the sake of the relationship, okay? Maybe the adjustment is that maybe they get angry or irritated really easily, and they're saying, okay, I'm gonna stop doing that. I don't want to make my partner feel like backed up in a corner or feeling some type of way. I'm gonna work on that. Maybe you want more phone calls. Okay, they're gonna make that adjustment. You're starting to see that, and that's a good thing. The next one is they're talking about a future with you in a more comfortable, insecure way. Even if it's subtle, it's still comfortable, insecure. Maybe it's like, this summer we didn't take as many nature walks. I hope next year that we can prioritize that. Let's say that's what they said. Okay? It didn't mean like, oh, tomorrow I'm planning a wedding. No, just we didn't take as much nature walks. Let's do that next year. That's future, right? Maybe I think they're building a new high school down the road. Maybe once it's finished, we can walk the track after hours. There's some future. I think we should go to the new mall once it's done being built, right? Anything. They might say something like, let's say it's something more about your worries. They can still put in anyway. Don't worry, I know your mom focuses a lot on your accomplishments. When you finish your master's degree, I'll treat you as I always do. I'm not going to change just because you have a master's degree. I don't mind what education you have. They're comforting you, but it's also saying, hey, I'm going to be there after those 2 years when you get your master's degree. I'm going to be there, and I'm not going to change how I see you because I like you the way you are. They're trying to comfort you, but also throwing that future in there. It's very subtle, but avoidants actually do that a lot, especially if you're special to them. I hope this video makes some sense. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.